This is A1 Radio, 101.1 megahertz.
Yes, thank you very much for that question. We've been doing that on the background, and there has to be some confidentiality also in it. So you don't want to preempt them and come out and be talking about it so that it will look like you are trying to force people's hands. Because ultimately, if the consensus fails, the people may have to go for contest. And so it's a way of not preempting whatever decision that they will take. So that's what happens. But by and large, we are conscious about that because people encourage you, come and contest, it will be okay for you, only for them to go and vote against you. And in addition to the resources that you have expended, you also become so disappointed with the general party. And so we've told most of them that, look, if you decide not to contest in the interest of the party, it is not like you are weak. You are doing that because you want the good and the growth of the party. That's why you are doing that. And so for us, we encourage people to be amenable to being, to either talk out or stay in and standing as one, because sometimes in internal contests like this, as you can see in the press release by the General Secretary, even at the presidential level, people are mass-slinging in the eyes of the whole world. Much in the constituency, it will be the same thing. So we encourage them to try not to contest, and so that these things don't come out, so that they will be later on, they will be our own undoing. And so that aspect of it is we are doing our best behind the scene. Until the nomination close, and then we get to know the people who are involved. Then, in that case, even before we decide to run the contest, we can still talk to them and see the way forward. So it is after that we'll look at it from that angle. And so because the nominations are still running, and as I indicated also, we are talking behind the scene. And so because of those endeavors, we hope that they will yield positive results. And so to the extent that people are listening and also being cautious, there are issues that we think will help us. Yes, we still have some 30 days to go, more or less. And therefore, as soon as it's getting closer, it will be announced by the General Secretary of the party, the various locations where the superdelegates conference will take place. And we have 36 delegates in this region, so the 36 delegates will just converge. They may be here at the party office, so that we'll just cast our vote in the presence of the Electoral Commission. And then within an hour, we should be done, or less, yes. So that preparation is ongoing. The albums are supposed to be given to the delegates, the contestants. All of them are supposed to get the album at least by the close of day today, because constitutionally, 1 month to the election, every aspirants will have it. But we know they already have it immediately the regional elections and the national elections were over. If you were contesting, then you should know them, and almost every night and then we receive calls from them. But the album only confirms those who are going to vote, especially the past regional officers. All past regional officers are delegates. There may be difficulties in finding them, so that's how come it's good that those albums are confirmed. But for those of us who are still serving, it's easy. So I have one vote, even though I'm a member of the Regional Executive Committee, a member of the National Executive Committee and the National Council. I only have one vote. I cannot say because I'm in this position. So that's the way it is. Just one vote per person. So you go and cast one vote to each of the delegates, each of the contestants. That's what we do. But we have the what has happened is that we have very strong personalities coming up. And so because we have very strong personalities coming up, the hope is that their persona, coupled with the party support, will help in a great deal. And so that's why we are looking at it from that angle. And so for me, the prospects are very bright, but we still remain underdogs. And so because it's the past results that will really guide us. And for some few years, it has not been good. Cumulatively, as a party, we've won in 9 constituencies before. So there's nothing new. We can win a new one and also repeat. For instance, Binduri, we have won twice. Navrongo Central, a number of times. We have won Gulusa North before. We've won Tempane, Sebila. And so because of that, the hope is still there. Nabdam Talisi, we've won before. And the margins are not too discomforting. The margins are still within reach. And so with the unity of purpose and the necessary logistics and supply, we should be able to harness those constituencies once again. And so the history has not been too bad, but it's a consistency that is lacking. And as I said, sometimes only what is happening in Parliament, sometimes somebody is bedridden and they have to take the person by ambulance. And I'm sure party members have seen that because one way or other, because of our own behavior. So everybody is resolved that never again should we get to that stage. And so the good thing is that those on the ground are all yearning to do well. And we can only do well here at the expense of the NDC. And you will see that the opportunities are abound. The fallout from you saw the NDC primaries, what happened. And we also are guided by it so that we can work very hard towards snatching some of the seats. Yes, it's what will tell delegates is that, it's not easy to come up with money to file. And so any member who comes out to file and to contest, the person in a way is oiling the machinery of the party. And so we must give, even if you are not supporting the person, give the person the utmost respect that the person deserves. They should not be insulting, innuendos, castigating. You can market yourself without the need to insult your opponent. And because of social media and what have you, some people take advantage of it to insult others just to project your candidate. You can project your candidate without insulting the other person. So that is one of the things that we want delegates to also understand. The delegates must also understand that we are going to be very fair, transparent. And so once we are going to be fair and transparent, and so if your candidate prevails, those who will lose will know that there was no underhand dealing, and so they'll have no reason not to come on board. And so we should conduct ourselves that once you know your candidate will win, you also should know that the contest is just a means to an end, it's not an end in itself. We are going to battle out with the NDC who are always ahead of us, because I keep on saying that the NDC had the advantage of starting in the year 1992. 96 NPP was anonymous, largely because the Great Alliance was in place and we didn't have candidates of the end. It was from the year 2000. So it was on the 3rd election that NPP started contesting on its own. So strictly speaking, NDC is like you are going 100 meters race and they are starting at 30 meters and you are in zero. So obviously it takes time to catch, but we have demonstrated progressively that they are catchable. And so the time has come, and I know the 2024 will be the brightest opportunity. And so we should not conduct ourselves in such a way that will give it easy to NDC on the silver platter. Yeah, performance of governance is very important, but there are some deep-rooted issues that has nothing to do with performance and evaluation of government work. So the deep-rooted thing is that Upper East generally has been considered, and Nkrumah is, in terms of tradition, the UP tradition, even though was also rooted in the northern part of Ghana, the Northern People's Party and what have you. Most of our people went on exile. The long military regime, especially PNDC, virtually displaced most of them. And so on the 10th of the 92, we virtually had most of them either have died. You saw Bayamga, the owner of this building. He was one of our financiers. He was made to drink cement and died prematurely, if I may put it that way. So all those financiers and what have you, and so we have that kind of historic disadvantage, and also the tribal aspect, which NDC heaped on severally. Even it used to be the campaign that if you vote for NPP, they would drive all Fafers from Kumasi. That used to be the campaign. Thankfully, it's becoming a thing of the past. But every election as go, the propaganda takes a different dimension. For instance, in 2020, one of the issues that didn't help was the closure of schools because of COVID. Everybody knew, even the NDC set up a COVID team, even though it was for propaganda purposes because it did not see the light of day. Knowing very well it was for the good of the country. They went around telling our brothers and sisters in the dark that the president has sent his children abroad and he has closed the schools and the schools were not going to be open again. That is the kind of information that went around. So the propaganda and what have you, fortunately, because of telecommunication improvement, Instagram and what have you, a lot of things come out. And so we pray that with technology, you get the information real time so that you'll be able to react to them. So these advantages are gradually making way, but you are dealing with a group of people who can manufacture any propaganda within the twinkle of an eye. But it is also our duty to educate the people and preempt them on these things. And I mean, by and large, we've been doing that. And it is our hope that it will yield results sooner than later. We are happy to have a number of people coming out to pick forms. But it's a contest, and once it's a contest, the process has begun well, and we expect that it will continue in the way it's going, so that if at the end of the day you happen not to win, you have to understand that the party is larger than everybody. Let's look at the party's interest first, so that through that we'll be able to make things well for all of us. And then when the best candidate comes, we'll all throw our weight behind the candidate. Everybody matters.
This A1 Radio, streaming live on www.a1radioonline.com, Twitter handle @official A1 Radio, and on TuneIn, Facebook A1 Radio 101.1 MHz.